Okay, explain to me how the hell do we have 1 week of sheer greatness and somehow it has to be overshadowed by scat? Ooh, okay, you know what? Screw it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Season 6, Episode 8 of the phenomenon known to all. It's Saturday afternoon's main event. Of course, if you do not know who I am, dumb, stupid, blind, or just plain irrelevant, I suggest you go to school, go into your local library, get the biggest dictionary you can find, preferably Merriam-Webster, and look me up under the word phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the phenomenal one, and of course, I have a co-host here on Saturday afternoon's main event who you guys are much more familiar with. I know, yes, he's like the Gorilla Monsoon to my Bobby the Brain Heenan, my tag team partner, the one and only Tony Schiavone. Guys, I'm just kidding. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, allow me to introduce to you the limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing son of a gun who is not having a hard time holding his alligators down. Give me 2 claps and a peep snatch.
Woo!
There we go.
And if you notice, I'm wearing a Mortal Kombat shirt. I have a feeling there's a theme that's going to be sprinkled throughout this show, like Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh, that's what we're going to be doing today. Today is going to be one of those shows, so stay tuned. Without giving away a lot of stuff, I think you may have a rant or two.
A rant or two? Peeps, why are you minimizing the number, bud? Come on now.
How about half a dozen rants? How about that?
You know what? To put it into much more dynamic results for you guys. If you are familiar with our catchphrase, which is I digress, let's just say we're going for 50 today, okay? Let's put it like that.
We're at 107 for the year.
This is insane.
And I have a feeling that there's going to be a surplus of I digresses today.
Oh,
just keep that in mind.
Definitely. But without further ado, guys, look, greatest part about all of it, there is no wrestling crash course today. Why? Because we're going all in, pun intended.
Good one. There you go.
Exactly right. But, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you guys for going ahead and tuning in, whether you're on Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube. We appreciate all the support in the past month. Because, peeps, I just have a lot of good news to go ahead and give out before we get into the scat, you know?
Okay.
Peeps, first off, numbers are great and business is booming.
Okay.
We have had 81 accounts that have gone into our insights on Instagram who have viewed our page on Saturday afternoon's main event.
Nice.
Not only that, we have acquired 102 followers within the last 2 weeks.
Nice.
W. And not even that, peeps. Greatest thing of all. Out of the 5 reels that we posted on Saturday afternoon's main event,
all right,
we have garnered about, number reads correct, 7,567 likes.
Nice.
That for me, look,
there you
W
go.
in itself, we appreciate you guys. The numbers are doing great. Business is booming, and you guys are here supporting us. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys.
Yes.
So without further ado, look, let's just go ahead and get into what you guys have come here to see. So look, peeps, what do you think is much more, indeed, I would have to say the much more bigger thing to go ahead and get into first? Do you think we should get into the show first? Or the aftermath surrounding the show? Or actually during the show, which is what we were hearing? What's better?
Here's what I think. We should take everybody to heaven before we bring them straight to hell. So let's start with the good stuff first.
Start with the good stuff. Peeps, yes. I like that. Peeps actually like that. You know what?
Yes.
Say no more. Let's go ahead and do it just like that. Guys, we're listening to Peeps Nate on this one. We're going to go ahead and get to heaven first before we get to hell. So look, don't even worry about it. Wait, what the heck? Wait. Hot Rod. Phenomenal -1. Do you have a problem with me? Catch me outside. How about that? Hot Rod, you better slow down there before I put you in a chokehold and headbutt you, okay?
Oh, just take it to the ring, guys.
Oh, now Peace with Nature wants to play the part of Samoa Joe. How great is this? What are we going to be doing? All in the music?
Actually, I'll play the part of Miro. Just take it to the ring, guys.
Who's gonna play Tony if that's the case? Oh God!
I'll sit back here, folks.
Monitor just slams down on Peeps Nate.
There you go.
I digress. I digress.
Oh.
First one of the day. I digress. I can't. Oh man. But guys, look, don't worry about Peeps. Peeps is having some technical difficulties as reported before the show.
Yes.
It's okay, it happens. So like I'm just giving you guys the heads up now. If he's like, going in and out, don't be surprised. It's happening right now. But Peeps, I know you're probably like listening, but the cameras is going good. So don't worry, you'll be fine. Okay. Just keep. If you have to leave, you can leave, bro. But just come in, come back out. I'll let you know. But it's currently doing it right now. But with the comments right now, the Phenom says, "Watch your mouth, Hot Rod, or I'll make you famous on the 6 o'clock news." Thanks, guys. You know what?
Oh, boy.
You guys are really starting this early. We're not even 20 minutes in. Jeez.
It's Labor Day weekend, but they're putting in the work.
Labor Day weekend with. It's Labor Day weekend minus the whole Eastern Parkway, like carnival. Like it's just, for God's sake, guys, come on, too much carnage already. But you know what? Look, without further ado, let's go ahead and do what we feel as if we have to do, and that will be give our take on the review for All In. And we start with the first match, Better Than You, Baby, versus the Aussie Open tag team match for the Ring of Honor World Tag Championships. As much as it was 7 minutes, look, I'll tell you this. You just had to be there. I sat there and I said to myself, you know what? I'll actually put up with the show. Because I was already dealing with enough. My head was everywhere. But I said to myself, you know what? I paid for the pay-per-view. Let me at least watch the pay-per-view. And I watched the 0 hour. And then I caught this match. And let me just tell you. His MJF's kangaroo kick, stellar. Amazing. A1. The fact that they won the match, even better. But the ending to the match is just, I have to say, having Adam Cole go ahead and look at MJF like that, then proceed to leave the ring and go back as if he was ready to be prepared for the match. I sat there and said to myself, you know what? Something else is coming. Something has to be coming. Looks like Peeps Nate is still trying to go ahead and chime in. Guys, I told you if he's having technical difficulties, it's okay. He'll be coming back in and out. But still, as I said, first match, it was great. It was great. 7 minutes, not too bad. I was all in on it, pun intended. And it was just, it was a good way to go ahead and kick off the pre-show. As much as I know that I don't like watching pre-show matches because that's like my little mini bathroom break before the show, it was good. It was good. Hot Rod says this. Wow, look at this. It's a phenomenal Punk. Don't you have toilets to clean? Don't you have laundry to go do or throw? Gentlemen. At least hit the 20-minute marker first. I mean, guys, come on. Easy now. Okay. But from there, we go into the second match of the pre-show. Hook defeated Jack Perry by submission. Look, having Hook go ahead and win the title, we needed it. I guess for me, I told myself that if you wanted to solidify Jack Perry as a heel and have him garner heat, then he should have won the match. That was my take on it. But you know what? I guess to go ahead and let him come back with his FTW title, giving it back to Hook, letting him win at Wembley. Okay, cool. No problem. I'm not mad at it. I'm not. It's all right. It's cool. But still, you know what? Let me not. I'm not even gonna go ahead and do it. I'm not gonna do it. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, you would know that we went from that match into the show, and of course, in between that, we know that things happened. But hey, we're not gonna go ahead and say too much about it because we'll just wait till after. Oh gosh, Tony Khan cut off Peeps' Wi-Fi off again. Really, man? Really? Do you have to size my tag team partner like that? For God's sakes, it's not his fault. Leave the man be. If it's Tony, you know what? I'll size Tony for Peeps. Because at the end of the day, I'm kind of pissed off with Tony. So don't even worry about it. I'll get into it later, but I'm not going to do it now. I hope Tony would be listening too, because for God's sakes, cut off my Wi-Fi. While you're at it, I want to see it happen. I'm ruling anarchy if he does it. But, of course, as I said, we jumped from one pre-show match into the show. We know what happened in between that match. So don't worry, we'll get into it later. But, of course, the first match of the night, the singles match for the Real World Championship, consisted of CM Punk and Samoa Joe. And speaking on that match, Look who decided to go ahead and come back with internet being pristine. Ladies and gentlemen, Beefcake is back, guys. Of course, he waits till after the scat of the Hook and Perry match just to come in
Lord.
the first match of the show. Only Beefcake, guys. Only
Yes. I think Tony Khan has cursed our connection. That's what I think is going on.
Definitely. One person's the Fido says, "Where's Mr. 401?" You know what? Tony Khan is back at it again. Let me just put it like that. Tony Khan decided to go ahead and give our friend, our co-host, Mr. 411, a presumable some type of infection in the ear where he can't go ahead and hear out of his right ear. So somehow Tony Khan decided to go ahead and make this man Mick Foley. Why? Yes. I don't know, but it happened. So screw Tony Khan on that. You guys could just say screw Tony Khan in the comments. I like it. Keep it like that.
If you start a hashtag, then he might hear it and wonder where it's coming from.
Tony Khan, listen, put it up on same. Anytime we post something, just go ahead and just put that under the comment section. Hashtag screw Tony Khan. End of story. But yes. He's out for today. Don't worry, he should be back as soon as possible, probably by next week if it wears off. We're just hoping that he does get better. So get well, my friend. Yes. But from there, Jesus, you guys in the Hot Rod, his people using his neighbor's Wi-Fi again. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
And him, I need Mr. McMahon to fire him. You know what I want to say? Shut up, McMahon.
Yes.
Just like that. End of story. But
there you go.
As we were saying, Punk, Joe, match for the Real World Championship. We know what happened before that. We'll get into it later.
Okay.
Within this match, I have to say, I never thought I would say in the year of 2023, I'd see CM Punk perform a Pepsi plunge to Samoa Joe in Wembley Stadium. But somehow it happened. And was it amazing? It was great. 14 minutes of just sheer ways to go ahead and begin a pay-per-view. This was the best way to begin it. I loved every single minute of the match. Samoa Joe going ahead and doing his regular taunt while Punk tried to jump from the top rope, landed on the outside of the ring. And then you just see Joe walking away, looking into the camera, just calling Punk a wanker, using the informal way of going ahead and calling a person a wanker with the the mannerisms. But I can't do it because it's a family show.
Yes.
But I have to say, 14 minutes of just sheer goodness of a match. What were your thoughts?
I thought it was well done. It played into all of the stuff that happened in the past between the two of them, but also it seems like CM Punk is kind of leaning into the whole I'm a jerk. I'm going to be called whatever because of what's going on in the back. And he literally did, I don't know what you would want to call it, but I would probably say it's the best thing he's been doing, this whole political parody, so to speak, where he does the John Cena, he did the hands in the air, did the you can't see me, and then he put the hand in the ear, and then he ran to the ropes and gave him the giant leg drop. I'm telling you, CM Punk is a troll, but he knows it works. And him using those troll tactics within the match, especially how Samoa Joe played into the whole I don't care, I'm better than you kind of thing, especially when somebody tries to do a move, he just walks out of the way and he just said, yeah, whatever. Played into that. And during the match, as it started to escalate, it looked like Samoa Joe was just having way too much fun kicking the crap out of CM Punk.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of played into that with the fans where he was just smiling and CM Punk would try to do a move, he'd reverse it, then he'd kick him in the mouth, or he'd hit him with a clothesline, or he'd throw him in the corner, or hit him with a Yoranage and hit him, drop him to the mat. And then he would just laugh and smile and do something to the fan. He was enjoying himself until he wasn't. And I think that's the way this match played off of the previous matches that they had. Because remember, prior to the match that they had in which CM Punk won, Punk had never beaten Samoa Joe. So going into this match, it was playing off, well, that last match was a fluke. I'm going to get a rematch. And it's going to be what I want it to be. And the way that it played off, as it had layers to it, as it built, it was perfect. Not knowing what had happened before we even got to that point. But for all of the stuff that had happened that we're going to talk about later on in the show, to have that kind of match, this was probably my scene stealer match of the show. because I was expecting the match to be good, but I actually enjoyed this match much more so than I thought I would.
Understandably. But from that match, we moved to the 6-man tag match. Of course, Bullet Club Gold against the Golden Elite. And honestly, peeps, I have to say, for 20 minutes and 30 seconds, the match did not lack. I liked it. I really did. It was enthusiastic. It was fun. You could see somewhat of the little sense of storytelling that they were trying to tell with Takeshita and Omega. And the near falls, the way that the guys were just, all in on it together, especially with Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega, although they had that one little botch that they, of course, when they try to go ahead and do their little, moonsault outside of the ring, and you saw Ibushi slip a bit, you're just like, it's cool, it's okay. You kind of saw that they lost the sense of the fans for a little bit because no one cheered after that moonsault. You were just like, oh, yes, they caught it. Yup, this is London for you. Yeah, this is London for you. But with all I have to say, it was good. It was good. The ending with having Takeshita go ahead and pin Kenny like that, knowing that this is gonna tie into their match at All Out. Look, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. How about yourself?
And it was actually the best decision because if you're going to have that match next week, you have to have Takeshita get over on Omega. Omega and his team did not need the victory. And if you're going to build Takeshita as the thorn in the side of Kenny Omega based on the way that they've been building this feud, he has to be not only the person that his team is winning the match, he has to be the one to get the fall off of Omega. And I think that with all the chaos and everything that happened within the match, it fit perfectly for what the story that they were trying to tell. So it was a really good spot. I like the way that it built, and it was much better than I thought it was going to be. Ibushi, they still haven't done a great job of making the fans care about him, although they did a much better job than they did at the Blood and Guts match. So I'll applaud them on that. That they gave a little more backstory between his relationship between Ibushi and Omega and why that they're so close. He was in better shape. He looked like he'd been hitting the gym in the last month or so since we last saw him. So the criticisms that we heard about him, he wasn't in shape, he looked a little flabby, whatever. He looked like he got in better shape. He wrestled a better match, and I think the fans were a little more receptive to him. But they still didn't do a great job in building up why you're supposed to care about him in the States. Those like us that we know who he is and what he's about, we already know all of that. But they didn't do a great job in building that aspect of it.
Exactly. So, we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But honestly, with knowing that, this kind of just it settles down with Takeshita and Omega coming later this weekend, of course, tomorrow, we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. Mm-hmm. But from there, this match was my show stealer match. This match was it for me. FTR versus the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team Championships.
Yes.
For 21 minutes and 45 seconds, the Young Bucks, or should I say in Jim Cornette terms, the Cucamonga Boys, put on a stellar tag team match with FTR, who are always putting on banger after banger. Peeps, what were your thoughts about this match as a whole? Because me, if I would sit here and talk about it, I'd probably go about 80 minutes. I kid you not.
Yes.
What were your thoughts?
This is the inherent problem with the Bucks. When people complain about the Bucks, they bring a lot of that complaint and a lot of that angst on themselves. But if they actually are willing to work the match with psychology and not just go 100 miles an hour with no rhyme or reason, the Bucks can have a great match. We know what kind of athletes they are. We know what kind of talents they are. We also know if they get the right opponents, what they can have, i.e. the match that they had, I believe it was last year, in the steel cage with the Lucha Brothers, which we thought was one of the best tag team matches of that year.
Yeah, with Penta, of course.
Yes, with Penta and Rey Fenix. To know that they can have that kind of match if they apply psychology and stick with it. And the way that this match went, it made perfect sense. Now, obviously, there's still my issues with parts of the match were, how on earth do you get it from a spike pile driver? How do you, why would you? That used to actually finish people.
The selling was kind of
Yes.
That was probably the only problem with All In. It was the selling from a lot of matches where it was just like, oh, you can instantly get up from that. Like,
yes, exactly.
Like, how does that work? You know, and even within the senses of like Dynamite. Look at how Penta and like Orange Cassidy just had a match where literally one of the spots was Penta going ahead and hitting Orange Cassidy with a Canadian Destroyer. Then Cassidy doing the same thing. Then Penta going back to it, and then Cassidy just goes ahead and falls back and hits another one. How do you get up from a Canadian Destroyer? Hasn't Petey Williams taught us enough? Like, honestly, let's be for real here. So,
even more so, hasn't Dante Martin let you know you should not be getting up from a Canadian Destroyer? And I'm not meaning that to be light or funny, because he got a Canadian Destroyer off of a ladder through a bunch of tables, and he broke his leg. So knowing that move can be, if done the right way and presented in a certain way, it's dangerous, but it's never portrayed that way. And we have more than one person doing. Dustin Rhodes does a Canadian Destroyer, a really good one.
Yeah.
We know Sky Blue does a Code Red, which is the Amazing Reds version of the Canadian Destroyer. We also know that Adam Cole does one off the ropes. So if you're gonna protect the move, protect the move. And what I did like though was the finish, going for the Meltzer driver, and then seeing Cash pushing one of the Bucks off the ropes, and in one fell swoop, then catching them in the Shatter Machine, and then getting the pin. And it was done just like that. It was crisp. It was almost in one motion, and it was believable. And that's what you want to see more from the Bucks and out of FTR. And that's why I say unequivocally that FTR is the best tag team in wrestling. And I don't bat an eyelash in saying that. I mark out when I hear their music. I mark out when I see them get to the ring. I mark out for them when they wrestle. They get in the ring. They finish their match. They walk on off. I'm a happy person. So that match was really good.
Like their attire says, living legends.
Yes.
But most definitely from that match, we move to the next match. That was ECW-esque. I just know, wherever New Jack is, New Jack was happy about it. I know, listen, I know for a fact that Sandman was probably bashing his head with a bunch of beer cans. I know that Terry Funk sat there and smiled. Yes. I know for a fact Mick Foley probably sat there and just caught a burst. This match, the gore, the full out sheer gore. I mean, for God's sake, Stadium Stampede. And who would have thought that a match that was brought in as a gimmick match at first?
Yes.
And we thought it was just so hokey, where it was just like, okay, yeah, it's just like, falls count anywhere inside an arena. Like what's going on? Like, should we really care as much? Like, what, you're driving golf carts and this, that, the third, and peeps. I don't care what you tell me now. If this is how Stadium Stampede will always be presented, I'm here. I'm here for it. Because, peeps, how do we have Eddie Kingston, Penta, Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta go up against the Blackpool Combat Club alongside Mike and alongside Santana Ortiz and just put on that good of a... Peeps, for 21 minutes, we were engaged from everything that was going on, even bringing in Sue. I mean, and peeps, everybody talks about that one spot, and I was literally talking about it a couple of days back, where you have Moxley not bringing thumbtacks for once. Peeps, no thumbtacks.
Yes.
So we don't
a much needed vacation.
Yes,
the thumbtacks didn't make it past customs this time. So yeah, they kept the thumbtacks in America.
They really did. But peeps, I mean, for God's sakes, for Moxley to go ahead and get skewers.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I said to myself, don't tell me he's about to do what I think he's going to do.
Yes.
And then to just see Penta go ahead and take him, stick him on the man's head and just...
Yes. And he turned him into a rooster, cock-a-doodle-doo, with this rooster's comb of skewers in his head. Now, purists like Jim Cornette, I'm pretty sure is gouging his own eyes out with that. But it only worked for this kind of match. For whatever it was organized chaos. Was it great? It wasn't great. but it was fun. It was the equivalent of a good popcorn movie that you know the movie's not going to be all that great, but you know you're going to have a good time and enjoy it. And
Exactly.
by the end of the match, I found myself like, you know what? This match was not that bad. And then I started enjoying it toward the end because the pictures of chaos, et cetera, et cetera. And I think what summed it all up was at the end of the match, when the match was over. You saw Kingston dumped in the corner with blood on his head. And then you have Moxley in the same corner, and blood on his head.
And not even that. It looks like he ripped off part of his skin from his eyebrow that was literally hanging from his eye.
And they just sat there with the camera shot of them both flipping each other the bird.
Exactly. Like, how do you...
Perfect. And the camera work for that was good. Was like, they're just sitting there like... Read between the lines.
Everything about it was just great, honestly. They did what they had to do with that, you know? And even bringing in Penta and like Penta going ahead and like, you know, hitting the Canadian Destroyer, even though the ladder kind of broke. Listen, I didn't care. I saw Canadian Destroyer from the top of the ladder into tables. Listen, I'm fine with that. That was great for me.
Yes.
But moving from that match to the presumable scat that I know we might go ahead and rant about now.
Okay.
The 4-way match for the AEW Women's World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Hikaru Shida, who was the champion, versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Toni Storm, versus the hometown hero, Saraya.
Yes.
Now, peeps, we all know Tony Khan doesn't have an issue with buying licenses for music, so hearing Queen go ahead and echo out through Wembley Stadium as Saraya comes out with her family to We Will Rock You.
Yes.
You sit there and you got the initial fact that, okay, yeah, she's going to win the match. And I was right on my pick with that one.
Yes.
But peeps, the way that it was done, I don't know. 8 minutes, all too short for a women's match, you know, and now it's like, when I heard the crowd cheer for a bit, it was like a quick roar. And then the rest of it was just like, okay, yeah, she's champion, now what? It was just like, it changed in the span of a second, you know, and now I'm just like, you know what? Shout out Mr. 411. He was right on that one. He was really right on that one, because now where do we go? You know?
Yes.
Now we move on to what? Is she just gonna go ahead and hold the title now? What, about a month? Is she like, you know, transitional title holder? Like, what's going on? Like, how are we moving on from this? So, Peace, what were your thoughts on this match?
Well, it's pretty much what I thought was going to happen when we did our predictions last week. It's that Saraya being the hometown hero, they had no Jamie Hayter. We know that Pac wasn't there on the men's side as far as somebody from the country to cheer and put on a pedestal and give them that quote unquote WrestleMania moment. And Saraya basically being in AEW for about a year now. It's been about a year since she debuted. Yeah. And knowing all of the things that were there, I believe that this was just a sports entertainment style feel-good moment kind of position. I don't think that this is indicative of how the rest of the company views Saraya. I don't think that the company has a problem with Saraya. I've never heard anybody say anything negative about Saraya since she's been in AEW.
Oh, exactly right.
But also at the same time, I think this was kind of like a reward, and knowing that they were going to be in England and they had Saraya's father, her brother, her mother, especially how they built this up with Saraya working with Toni Storm up until Saraya did something where the mother was standing in the crowd, and then she was supposed to hold up one of the wrestlers. Wrestler gets out of the way, and then Toni Storm literally decks Saraya's mother. The sell job that Saraya's mother did when she got hit, when she just went, she just fell backwards. Oh man, you would have thought she smelled the skunk.
And you had her father and her brother there. The reaction of the brother was just like, "Mommy."
Yes, exactly.
Like, what the heck? And then literally from there, you know, you had Cody just like,
"You hit me, mom." Oh, you hit me, mom. No,
mom. Like, honestly, and literally all of that. and just having Toni Storm just be there as like the starlet of like being Marilyn Monroe for a quick second.
I'm loving her character change. I love what they're doing with her character.
Exactly. So honestly, look, her being champion, good. She's the first woman wrestler not only to hold a WWE Women's title, but also the AEW Women's title. I don't know if you want to count the Divas Championship as that, but you know what? Screw it. I guess we can.
Yeah.
Right?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? So, from there, we move to the next match. And of course, this gimmick match I'm fond of because it's only been done by one person, the best. And of course, we know that I'm talking about the legendary Undertaker. But you know what? This is the first time I can say with my heart that I enjoyed a coffin match outside of WWE.
Yes.
And this was consisted of not only Darby Allin, but also the Stinger. And they were going up against Christian Cage and Swerve Strickland. Now look. Peeps. First things first. Hearing Seek and Destroy going through Wembley. I kid you not. Peeps, I marked out. Who in the world? Peeps, yes. I mean, God.
Yes.
Isn't it great when wrestling is this good?
It is.
Like,
and as they paid a ton to Metallica for this one, because if you're gonna have Sting, we know that WCW paid through the nose to get Sting that music, and he had that opening theme, I think, for about a year in WCW. To have it just for that particular show, I'm sure I think they paid about as much as WCW paid for the length of how they used it.
Yep.
For that one time that they used it in England. Exactly. So it was perfect. Sting with the half Joker face paint and the it's kind of like an evolution that Sting is going through, almost like a midlife crisis for the Stinger. But it worked. I loved how the fans reacted.
But then you had Giovanni.
Yes. I thought he was going to pass out.
I said this to one person, and I was just like, that whole entrance as a whole. If you remember, peeps, WrestleMania 31, Sting goes up against Triple H, and Michael Cole literally said, "This is it, Sting. This is what it feels like to be at a WrestleMania, to be in front of 70,000 plus."
Yeah.
Well, not to be one of those AEW nerds, but Michael Cole, I guess you're wrong, because AEW did 81,000 in one night, and Sting got to be at one of the shows.
Hold my beer. That's what he said.
Exactly right.
Yes.
But peeps, all within the match, it was entertaining.
Yes.
And the ending, I kind of I let out a big oh, but a big ah at the same time, because it was just like a coffin drop.
Yes.
Onto a coffin.
Yes.
Walter was trying to get out of the coffin.
Yes.
And the one thing that got me, psychology, peeps. Psychology.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're going to tell me Sting puts the bat out.
Yes.
The full body's in.
Mm-hmm.
That's a count. He's not fully in the coffin. Then, Swerve gets in the coffin. They close the coffin. His finger's in. His finger's the only thing that's holding it up. But then when they close the coffin the last time, his hair is going out. So if his hair is out, doesn't that mean he's still in the match?
Exactly. That's exactly what I said. And I remember saying, Jesse Ventura would have lost his mind watching this, because you got to call it like it is. If his hair is part of his body and that coffin closes and it's still sticking out, that match should continue. And that's something that they could have brought up. I tell you, the match was well done because the psychology of it was really fun, and the way it was done, it really seemed to work. And even all the way to the ending, like you said, Darby Allin, I don't even know if he's human. I think he's a mannequin, something, because there's no way you can throw your body around like a pinball on a regular basis and not have aches and pains everywhere. And get up to go on a plane and then compete 2-3 days later and do the same thing all over again. Especially after that coffin drop on that coffin.
Exactly.
Oh, that was painful. I was at a bar in Manhattan watching that, and when he hit that, his back hit, everybody in the bar was like, "Oh!" You heard it. There was like 100 people in the bar, and all you heard was, "Oh!" So yeah, it
That's
looked
just not even
painful.
enough. Yeah, I mean, for God's sakes, God bless Darby Allin. God bless
Yes.
him, man. But from there, we move to this singles match, which I don't want to crap on. I choose not to crap on it, but at the same time, there was parts in it that I kind of said, damn, did it? This really should have been Omega versus Ospreay if we're being for real. That's what I said to myself.
Mm.
Ospreay versus Jericho. Look, 15 minutes, it was good, and I can say that Jericho still can wrestle. So
Of
those that
course.
say, "Oh, he can't go ahead and still put on a good match," no, the man can put on a good match. But there were certain parts that you kind of sat there and said, he probably shouldn't have to do that. The match kind of didn't need this part. And you know what I'm talking about, peeps, because this man almost literally fell on his neck.
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn it, Jericho. Like,
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
You don't need. Who are you trying to impress? We know you can still go.
We know you can still go.
Yes.
Like, there's no need for it. The match,
Yes.
I have to say, I'll give it 4. I'll give it 4 stars. Out of 5, I'll give it 4. And I'm keeping it a $1.50, but it's just like there was some parts in it that you just said to yourself, look, Jericho, you don't have to sit there and prove anything to anybody. You've been in the business for damn near 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting here having to go ahead. Ric Flair was putting on matches in his 60s.
Yes.
You're literally in your 50s, man. We know you can still go. There's no need to prove anything to anyone. You've held every major title in every major company.
Yes.
You've put on good matches after match after match. What is there for? I understand maybe because of the hiccup with Cole in that one match, you kind of sat there and kind of got the need to say, you know what, maybe he needed this. It was kind of like, maybe a re-upper just so people can go ahead and keep their mouth shut.
Yeah.
But it would have been better if you didn't do some of the certain things that you didn't have to do. This isn't 1992 where, you can literally hit like 15, line salts, then go to a microphone and tell all 1,004 holds,
Good point. Yeah.
It's not that time again. You can literally adapt to a new moveset that wouldn't have to iterate into you probably losing a limb or breaking something, but it's okay. As I said, I'm not.
You don't have to do a lion salt. You don't even have to do the Hurricane Rana off the top rope, even though we know he can still do it. The springboard from the inside of the second rope to the drop kick to the side. We know he can do that. He's definitely not doing a lot of topes and a lot of the stuff that he did in his early years because he doesn't need to. Because it's not just age. Jericho has considerably bulked up. He's a legitimate 240 or 235, 240 now. And you can see that he's bulkier. He's got a lot more musculature on him. So he doesn't have to do as many of the things that he used to do. But if he can still pull them out when he feels he needs to, it still works, and it still, for the most part, looks good. But as I had predicted, even though Ospreay is a supreme star in the business, he had to carry certain parts of the match so that Jericho could then give that second wind performance and have those kinds of moments that he had during the match. So I think it was a good enough blend for the difference in styles that they had in the match, and it was on display that it looked really good. And Jericho, like you said, he proved he still got it. Will Ospreay is Will Ospreay. He could wrestle a refrigerator, and it would still look great. So there you go.
Give the man a broomstick who'll put on a 17-star match.
There you go. Honestly, here's my pin. Wrestle the pin. Put it in a headlock. Yes. Give it a hidden blade. Give it an os cutter and call it a day. There you go.
Exactly. But from there, we move into the second to last match of the night. No holds barred 6-man tag team match for the AEW World Trios Championship. The Acclaim versus the House of Black. Oh, look.
Yes.
House of Black's tribute to Bray Wyatt. Amazing. Seeing Wembley light up in fireflies, even better. The Acclaim coming out. I mean, for God's sakes, who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Yes.
Wow. I was joyous about that one. I really was. And to have them win,
Yes.
Oh, for God's sakes! Ah,
Yes.
yes. You know, and even to deliver one to Julia Hart. I mean,
Oh yes.
Jesus.
Yes. And the way it was done too, because she was like, "Oh, what are you guys doing? You
Yeah.
know what they're doing.
You know what
Shiver
they're
me
doing."
timbers, yar."
No, what even made it better? I sat there and I went straight to Twitter after, and people were just like, "Oh, the Acclaim just delivered a scissor to Julia Hart. You know what this means? Somebody has to come. Solo Sikoa versus Rhea Ripley coming soon." I said, I hate you people. I was like, really? And everybody was just like, promote intergender matches. We need this. You know, I was like, I mean, you know, I don't know how the shareholders would feel about this one, but you know what? I don't think you're wrong. Yeah. But honestly, with them winning the match, it's good. I guess, like, you know, this means that it promotes more matches between the two, maybe more grudge matches, whatever they feel is right. But one thing though, them going ahead and, you know, kind of changing up the style of the, you know, the title, knowing that they debuted it on Dynamite. Hints of pink. For 1 second there, peeps, I thought I was looking at the Owen Hart Legacy titles.
Yes, and they did look really good. I mean, they went through 2 new championship belts in less than, 15 minutes?
Yup.
They went from the black and silver of the House of Blacks Trios championships to what the gold looked like when the Elite won it. And then now with the new belts with the pink, and the scissor fastening at the back is so ingenious. And the fact that they fasten with scissors in the back, that was a nice touch. That was really good. Really good.
Only the Acclaim.
Yes, and it'll probably be on AEW, the shop website, and it'll probably sell out.
Watch, that's selling out quicker than the AEW World Title. I'll tell you that now.
Yes.
But with that being said, we get to the last match of the night.
Yes.
The main event, the match that is talked about by every single fan who has watched All In minute by minute. And peeps, I've watched this show a couple of times already. I've watched this match 3 times. Peeps. So let me ask Dave Meltzer a quick question. Yo, Uncle Dave, I just want to know now. Can MJF still not wrestle? To the blog.
This is what he should say.
Just let him take a sip of this tea. Don't worry, guys. Let him take a sip of his tea. He got it. Give him some time.
Yes! There you go.
Peeps, I kid you not. The fact that they went through 29 minutes. 29 minutes of just sheer enjoyable entertainment.
Yes.
The entrances. Hearing Wembley actually go into, you know, full in shock mode with Adam Cole's entrance, with the boom. And I kid you not, I had it playing onto my TV in the family room, and the fact that the bass literally shook the floor with the boom.
Yes.
I was like, God dang, you're kidding me, right?
Yes.
And not even that. Last time I checked, MJF's theme song doesn't consist of the vocals because they took off the vocals when he started wrestling in AEW.
Yes.
But the fans, better than
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Wow. I mean, I sat there and I looked at it and I was just like, this is big fight feel. This is really big fight feel. I kid you not. I was just like, wow. Like, I'm really watching the money fight right now. Like, this is it. And peeps, the introductions by Justin Roberts.
Yes.
The way that they had the lights pan out and it was kind of like gold in the ring and all around was just lights all over. I was just like, the aesthetic, the feel. AEW hit it out of the park with that one. But the match itself, stellar. The fact that they went to a draw again. And peeps, here's what makes it even better. They're about to go to the draw, right? And before they even get to the draw, the chair spot. Okay, I just have to say, chair spot. Both of them go ahead and throw the chair back at each other, trying to deliver an Eddie Guerrero-esque finish.
Yes.
And none of them are budging.
Yes.
Not until Adam Cole throws the chair back at MJF, lays down as if he got hit by the chair. MJF has the chair in his hand. He's looking up at the fans. He's looking back at the chair. He looks up at the camera. He's just like, screw it.
Yes.
Puts it over his head. Puts it on his face. Adam Cole just gets up and he's just like, what? Are you kidding me?
Yes.
This is what is... And if... I just said, okay, you know what? I'm fine with this. Match goes to a draw. Peeps. When MJF said, yo, I don't know if I could, like, it's over. Okay, let me just have the time. And Adam Cole just takes the mic and he's like, no, 5 more minutes. And MJF is just like, no. And I just said, are you kidding me? Not like this, right? Are we doing sudden death? Is this sudden death? What are we? And he's just like, no, this match can't go 5 more minutes only. We're going until we have a damn winner at Wembley. And I said to myself, this is golden. This is golden. Peeps, I marked out. I said to myself,
just in that small amount, they referenced the previous match that they had. Yes. They preferenced the competitive nature of the match that they had, and even the nuance leading up to that part where they were having a regular scientific match. They shook each other's hands. They were going at it.
They put on the tag team shirts together.
Yes. And then at one point in the match, Adam Cole's shirt got ripped off. Or I should say it was MJF's shirt that had gotten ripped off during the match by Adam Cole, and he threw it out of the ring. And he was like, uh-oh. That was like, okay, he's real now. As the expression is, mess around and find out. That's literally what was going to happen in that match. And then they got to that point where they were looking at each other, and then they're like, you know what? They're going to restart this match. Let's do it. And it's amazing that they were able to squeeze the amount of drama and content and backstory playing off the fans, technical wrestling, some brawling, emotion, all in under 30 minutes.
No, but Peeps,
that is crazy.
And a close finish, Peeps, I have to say. And having Roderick Strong implement himself into that. Yes. And I was just like, the minute Cole hit the Panama Sunrise and ref caught it, and I just said, oh, this is Bloodline-esque. We know what's coming. Oh, shoot. And Roderick Strong comes in. MJF is right there, gets the low blow, and he gets out. Adam Cole gets him. He's like, Roderick, what the hell? What's going on? And he's like, Adam, get him! Get him! And you're just like, wait, he doesn't know what happened. He doesn't know what happened. Not only does the ref doesn't know what happened, Adam doesn't know what happened either. And Adam's going up, and Adam's about to deliver the Panama Sunrise. He delivers it, gets the last shot in, asking the ref to pin. The ref finally goes ahead and pulls a David Robinson, and he hits the 1, the 2, and then MJF kicks out. And you're just like, oh my gosh.
Yes. It's like, well, how is this going to end? How is it going to end? Because at that point, we were like, well, how's it going to end? There were people looking at each other. If you notice, when that happened, did you notice when the camera panned the crowd? The fans were looking to each other like, well, what's going to happen next? What are we going to do? Yeah.
Peeps, the fact that they continue to go on up until the point that MJF literally got the roll up, and the match ended like that, and you were just like, oh wow. So what does this mean for them now? And he begins talking to him. He's like, look, bud, it's okay. They still love you. They all still love you. You did good, bud. You did good. And he goes out. He gets the Ring of Honor tag titles. Gives it to Adam Cole. Adam Cole throws it out of the ring. And Jeff is just like, wait. Oh, I know what this is. You never gave a crap about me. All you cared about was the title. You really cared about this? All of this. You were doing all of that for this? Goes over to his title. Freaking take it. I don't care. I'm done, man. I'm done. You know what? Even better. Goes into the middle of the ring. Pulls a Raven. He's like, look, just go ahead, man. Just go ahead. I'm so stupid. And here comes Roderick Strong. Roderick's like, do it, Adam. I'm your best friend. Do it. Do it. And the fact that Adam Cole didn't do it, he put the title down. Roderick is like, Adam. You know, MJF turns around. MJF turns around. And he's just like, you didn't do it. And they just going for the hug. And I sat there and I said to myself, oh my gosh, they did the 92 Wembley finish with Bret Hart and British Bulldog. What the heck? And peeps, I popped. I said, wow.
And the MVP of this whole thing is Roderick Strong, because Roderick Strong added, with his whiny attitude, jilted, oh, I lost my best friend, I can't believe he sounds like Tony Khan almost.
Yup.
But yet it's because of the history that Roderick Strong has with Adam Cole is the reason why this works. And the fact that they did it in the way that they did, it's like, okay, he's going to hit him with the belt. No, he didn't. And he's wrestling with it. You can see the other gift that Adam Cole has that we don't talk about enough. His emotions and how he emotes things on his face during certain spots and camera angles is when they go, like if he misses on a kick out and then they show a close-up of his face. You see the look in his face, he's conflicted, or he's angry, or he's upset. It's very hard to do that and be believable with it. And he does it at points where he takes you on a ride. And as he goes, like, anybody's ready for story time with Adam Cole, baby. And he's taking you along the ride for this story. And you have to be invested, because when he tells you the story, you're going to listen to how it ends. And that's what he does from a physical standpoint in the face. And he emotes those things well, his frustration and his anger, especially when he got in the corner after he lost the match. Like you said, he threw the belt out. He was in tears, like literally the same way that MJF was in the corner when they lost the tag team title match against FTR. It's the same thing, but it was flipped a little bit. This one had a little more emotion to it because this one was completely different. But MJF showing that, you know, he's still vulnerable, but he's still the devil. You don't want to piss the devil off, but yet he's, you know, my friend is going to, you know, my bro Chacho, let's see what he does. And I thoroughly enjoyed it for what it was. It was AEW's version of sports entertainment. And at least on that aspect of it, it worked based on who they were.
Or they actually get to curse on national television or on pay-per-view.
Yes.
And they actually get to show the emotes and everything like that. And you get the blood aspect and you get the hardcore aspect of it. And the fans being vocal. The show was great.
Yes.
In total, the show was great.
The first 10 minutes of the match was just technical wrestling. There was still a couple spots. Headlock, leg takeover, go into the side headlock to the ropes, leapfrog, over there, hip toss, arm drag, leg drop, hip toss, 2 count, flip up. They went back and forth with technical wrestling for the first 10 minutes of the match, and then it broke down. I thoroughly enjoyed the match.
Definitely right on that, peeps. Definitely right on that. But with that being said, we finished with All In. The first half. It's just the first half. Okay?
Yes.
There's more to get to. See, music is cut off. Peeps. Now you see how much we just took to sit there and talk about how great All In was.
Yes.
And you see how we were enthusiastically happy with All In. Being that wrestling is now in a boom. You have WrestleMania selling out 90,000 tickets within, 24 hours. All In doing 81K inside Wembley Stadium in London, England.
And most of those tickets were sold before they even announced the match. Exactly. So that should tell you something.
Peeps. Now look at that. Wrestling is in a boom. Wrestling is booming. It's great. Both businesses are thriving. It's amazing. But then, of course, would a AEW pay-per-view with the word all in it, whether it be in or out, is it really all in without CM Punk drama?
So Charles Montgomery Punk, huh? It's the Charles Montgomery Punk show.
Look at the title of the episode for today's show. Yeah. Look in my eyes. What do you see? Where the hell is Jack Perry? Now look, guys, look. I heard Cornette's show about it a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And even prior to that, I spoke to Peeps literally as it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so weird because I'm sitting there watching the Samoa Joe and CM Punk match.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm literally just in awe. And I go on Twitter about to type in something. And the first thing I see, Brian Alvarez and Sean Ross both go ahead and tweet out, there has been breaking news of a scuffle that happened just backstage in Gorilla Inside All In at Wembley between CM Punk and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Wait, the man is wrestling right now. When he came out for his entrance, this man was just full on happy. Then he ends up winning the match. He's happy with the fans, going ahead and giving out, like, human rights activist CM Punk-esque.
Yes.
Whatever he was doing. And I'm just sitting there, I'm reading the tweet, and I'm looking up at the screen. I'm like, wait, so this man just got into a scuffle with Jack Perry? So, what the heck happened? So I'm going to tell you guys, if you haven't heard, okay? A couple of weeks ago, with this feud that Jack Perry has with Hook, he wanted to do this spot a couple of weeks ago, where I think last week, I may be right, Peeps?
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Okay. And he wanted to do this spot with Hook that consisted of him using real glass. Whether it be whatever it was, whether it be a panel, whether it be a car, I don't know. But he wanted to do it. So what did he do? He went to executives, head of creatives, producers of the show, different people. And all of them said, no, you're not going to do it. But Perry said, no, I want to do it. Now, look, this is strike one. This is really strike one for me. And let me tell you why, Peeps. I'm going to get it to the rest of the story, but let me tell you why this is strike one.
Okay.
He shouldn't have to go to executives. He shouldn't have to go to the producers of the show.
Mm-hmm.
If they tell you no and you still think about doing it, doesn't the word of mouth get to the higher up, the one who's always in Gorilla, president of the company? What's his name again? The one that snorts coke. Tony Khan, right?
The guy that signs your checks. Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Tony Khan. Okay, so if this got to Tony Khan, shouldn't Tony have put his foot down 2 weeks ago? Shouldn't it have been Tony?
Yes, it should have.
Okay. Strike one. Back to the story. Right. Now, Perry is still insinuating wanting to do this to the locker room. So the boys in the back. The boys in the back hear about this, and the boys in the back are just like, okay, if he's not going to listen to us, he's not going to listen to the executives, at least have him go ahead and listen to Punk. Punk is somewhat of a locker room leader. Mm-hmm. Punk is one that people can go ahead and sit there and talk to because he knows a lot. He's kind of like judge, jury, and executioner. He's been in it for the long run. It's not like, Bryan Danielson is there for a long time. Punk has been doing it. Punk is, hides like best in the business. Let's go ahead and, get Punk to talk to him. At least have him as some type of mentor, because we know Punk said that, like, he looks at all those guys and he's just like, they remind him so much of me. And for me, I just want to be able to promote them and make sure that they become the best that they possibly can become in the next couple of years when I'm long gone. They tell Punk about it when Punk gets to the arena. Punk goes ahead, Punk talks to Jack about it. He's like, no, you're not doing it. Okay? If they tell you no, it's no. In this business, you got to listen. If it comes down to anything, if they're telling you no, it's not needed, man. Figure out another alternative to go ahead and put the whole match over, a whole like rivalry, whatever you want to call it. But we're not going to.
The exact quote was, "We don't do that on Collision. If you want to do that,
go to Dynamite."
That was the exact quote that was heard by more than one wrestler that heard the altercation between him and Jack Perry. So just keep that as a frame of reference as my partner continues with the story.
Now, fast forward to All In Wembley. 0 hour. Hook is having his match with Jack Perry. They get to the entrance area, right around the stage. There's a London car. An English version of like a Model T. Something around that esque, kind of like a Fiat-ish. Mm-hmm. But Jungle Boy proceeds to take Hook over to the car. Story gets better, guys. Perry examines the car, walks around the vehicle. He begins to have some type of smirk on his face. Then Perry goes over to the camera side. He's right next to the cameraman. Knocks on the glass. Goes into the camera and says, "Real glass, cry me a river." Then gets dropped on the glass by Hook. But match happens, he loses the title, whatever. Jungle Boy Jack Perry, yes, Tarzan Boy, gets to the back, gets in Gorilla. Punk is right there about to get ready for his match. Both cross paths. Punk asks him, "Listen, do you have a problem with me?" Jack says, "Look, I was just trying to go ahead and get myself over as a heel. That's all I wanted to do. You guys said no to it, but I wanted to do it. End the story. And I got to do it. Are we happy now? It's cool. It happened. Like, why are we sitting here talking about it?" Punk then asks again, "What, do you have a problem with me?" Because you're sitting there and you literally go into the camera. You say something like that. Like, what's going on? I don't know what was said after. But what they heard from Punk, because he said it loudly, was, I can kick your ass, right? But Jungle Boy then says, "Then do something about it." Once you don't poke the bear. Neither do you poke the guy with a dog named Larry, okay?
Yeah.
But he does poke the guy with the dog named Larry. And what does Punk end up doing? He socks the man in the face, then proceeds to put the man in the chokehold. Samoa Joe, who was in Gorilla as well, tries to separate the bout between the two. The scuffle ends up getting so heated that they went over to Tony Khan and knocked over the monitors that were in front of Tony Khan that were able to deem him to watch the show, communicate with the refs, whatever he was able to do, especially even with commentary. But they knock it over. And, damn. Tony Khan then says to Punk, "Stop it. Let him go. Leave him alone." Samoa Joe then separates the two men. Punk, who I've heard, lunged at Tony Khan and proceeded to yell repetitively, "I quit, I quit, I quit." Then storms off to the back. What's so funny about this is that there is a picture that is going around now that was after the match of Punk, Samoa Joe, a trainer, and I believe it was the ref. And they take a picture, they're all smiling together. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it like, okay, so there's either one of two things. Either the internet is making it too big as it was, or these guys are able to go ahead and just or they're able to just hide it because business is business and they're not trying to ruin the night. But the more the story became known to people, the more that you began to hear that there was more behind it, this, that, and the third. And now there is reportedly footage of the altercation at Wembley due to the fact that the stadium holds security cameras in every nook and cranny of the building. Hot Rod says, "What is this, Days of Our Lives?"
Yes, sands through the hourglass.
And then Taekwon, hey, bud, he says this. That's what Punk said. Wow. Imagine. Wow. Not gonna repeat it. It's a family show, but
yes.
Taekwon, I guess you're right on that one, bro. But
yeah.
Please. So how did we get here, bro? Like, how did we get here, brother? I don't know, because last year, literally not even 365 days ago, we were here talking about Brawl Out. Am I wrong?
Yes, that is correct. And we both had two epic rants that lasted for the better part of 2 shows over that.
Yup. Now, peeps, with that being said, I always use this one quote, and it's those who do not know history are condemned to always repeat it. These guys know history. Why do they repeat it? Because it's pathetic. Let me tell you this, peeps.
All right.
If I'm sitting here, right? Now let's put it like this, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and give out too much information about my personal life right now, but it's easy because I can actually relate it. But it's not too much. But just hear me out on this one.
All right.
I'm going to school for communications. I'm trying to graduate with my degree in broadcasting journalism. Of course, I am trying to go ahead and get into the business of being a sports analyst, a color commentator, something along those lines. Peeps has history in that field. If I wanted to go ahead and jump on FCC Airways and completely go through rules A through, I would say probably R or S, maybe Q. Rules A through Q of what not to do while you're on the airways. And I go ahead and I present it to everybody. Everyone says, P1, don't do this. All right, I'm okay, like you guys are going to tell me not to do. I'm going to do it anyway. They go ahead and they tell Peeps. Peeps tells me, look, I'm going to keep it honest with you. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Scratch it. Leave it alone. And I still go ahead and do it for my benefit of just making myself even better and just knowing that no one can stop me and no one can touch me. If I have to deal with Peeps after, am I gonna go ahead and say that it's his fault? Or am I gonna say it's my fault? Because I'm the one that literally started it. I'm gonna say it's gonna be my fault. I'm at fault because I should have listened to you, right, Peeps?
Good point. Good point.
But as I said prior, it should have never gotten to those guys. One person is in charge here, and that's Tony Khan. But then again, this is the same Tony Khan who allowed everything to happen prior to Brawlout happen. And whatever happened at Brawlout happened. And when it got out, there was major repercussions. The point of it all is that I don't blame Jack. And I don't blame Punk. I blame Tony Khan. Honestly, in this sense, I blame Tony. Because, Peeps, you can't honestly tell me that if you know that Tony, that literally Punk can have his moments where he might get into it with certain wrestlers. You know that there's certain things that he doesn't like, especially when it comes to backstage politics. Certain things along the lines that you should take care of yourself due to the fact that you are the self-proclaimed president of AEW. But you don't do it. And this is where scat like this ends up going. Because you are not taking care of nothing. You're letting the people run the asylum. And you're not putting your foot down on certain things. Can you imagine Vince McMahon having to explain himself through a media call about two men doing this backstage? We don't even hear about stuff like this going on backstage through WWE walls.
You know why? Because if it happened, both of them would be fired.
Fired, gone.
Both of them. And it wouldn't make a difference how much money either one of them is making him. If it was the case, both of them would be fired.
Exactly. None of that. Oh, he's suspended for a little bit, comes back on TV. Nothing ever happened. Just blow it over. No, gone out of the building. You know, Vince would rather pay the men the rest of their contract and not allow them back before he lets them come back. Because it's an embarrassment. It's despicable. And like I said, it's pathetic. Twice in the past 365 days, Punk has been involved in an altercation with a wrestler, which could have been avoided if Tony Khan had set the standard and the groundwork for what to do and what not to do when it comes to wrestlers in the company. Now, as I said, I don't blame these two guys. I blame Tony. But not only now do I blame Tony, now I blame EVPs. Because something else got out. Okay? Something else got out. Because after the show, we then heard this. And I'm going to take a sip of my tea before I go any quicker. Losing my voice, peeps. I kid you not. This is what AEW does to me.
Yes.
But from what I heard, right? After this whole thing, later that night, I'm so happy about, the SummerSlam 92 finish of All In. I'm going ahead tweeting about MJF and how happy I am that Adam Cole and MJF got to hug it out in front of 81,000. The next tweet comes out that says that there was an altercation or an incident for Punk. Punk had got to England Saturday morning, coming in from a Friday afternoon flight from Chicago back there. Of course, he didn't come in with the rest of the AEW roster because he had Wednesday obligations to fill, and he felt as if he wanted to spend the Thursday with his wife in Chicago and then go to England later that weekend. So Punk gets there Saturday morning. Of course, if you're AEW personnel, part of the roster, whatever the case may be, the travel coordinator hooks you up with a ride, whether it be carpooling through Uber, personal bus, whatever it is. But there should be some type of service waiting for you by the minute you get to the airport. Punk gets to the airport in England. No one is there to greet him. No travel coordinators, no services, nothing like that. Punk sees that. Punk has the number to have the call to at least get some type of carpooling service to come get him, take him to the airport. The travel coordinator gave that number to Punk. From what we hear, Punk texted a number and Punk dialed it. It came up that the number was invalid. Okay. But here's what gets even better, guys. Punk then decides to get himself a train ticket to get to his hotel. He then gets lost. It is fans that are in England who actually notice that it's Charles Montgomery Punk. And he's trying to ask, how does he get to the hotel? And the fans literally sat there and they helped him. Guys, look, I'm going to tell you one thing. You're sitting here, you're like, guys, what type of soap opera is this? I don't believe you. You don't believe me? Look at this. Do you still don't believe me? I just want to know. Because it obviously shows right there that CM Punk is literally sitting on a train with luggage in hand right next to a fan. So they can't go ahead and knock this story now. But now, he finds his way to the hotel. Whatever the case may be, cool. The show happens after. Now we're hearing that this story got out. When we try to find out who the travel coordinator is, we find out who the traveling coordinator is.
No, that's the best part of this whole story. Go right on ahead. Go right on ahead.
Peeps. Oh my God.
Yes,
oh my
yes.
Gosh.
When you hear the rest of this part of the story, you will understand why I'm stroking my chin, because you know there's a rant coming, and you know that my partner is going to skewer what's going on with the rest of this. Go right on ahead.
I mean, for God's sakes, peeps. Okay. So,
yeah.
So, to go ahead and get into this now, right? This guy, who's a traveling coordinator for All Elite Wrestling, right? His name was Rosario Grillo. Okay? And what ended up happening was that after the show, there was the reports about Punk, and then there was fans that were fans of the Young Bucks or fans of AEW that hate Punk that were literally ranting about CM Punk. So literally bashing Punk, saying the harshest things, saying the meanest things. Of course, guys, I'm neutral in this situation, so don't even worry about me. I'm not to or for anybody. I'm not against anyone. I'm not with anyone. But this guy, right? He ends up going ahead and liking the tweets that are literally bashing Punk. Liking them, laughing about them, this, that, and the third. And you sit there and just like, oh, okay. So maybe, maybe he did this to sabotage Punk. Maybe that's what it was, right? Doesn't this just get funnier by the minute, peeps? I mean, honestly, like, doesn't it just get funnier by the minute?
Yes, this is literally the divine comedy.
Because here's what happens after, guys. Here's literally what happens after. You end up having that, right? And you're saying to yourself, okay, maybe he just sabotaged Punk. And that probably sat there and said to you, you know what? Like, maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was just that, like, the number wasn't working. He probably gave him the wrong number. This, and the third. Something probably came up. He was probably already busy with with the rest of the travel plans for the other wrestlers to get around the city. Everything like that. Here's what makes it even funnier. Because this happens. Let me just go ahead and share the screen here. And you guys will see what the hell I'm talking about. This was his Twitter profile. Monday morning. Monday morning, peeps. Monday morning. You got to hear this. You got to hear this. You got to hear this. This was Monday morning. Okay? Of course, you see stand-in Young Buck, pro wrestler, AEW traveling coordinator. Now, peeps. Then you have the picture in the center right there, posing with the Bucks. Mm-hmm. So now you're sitting there, you're saying to yourself, "Oh, damn! You know what? Yeah, he was the one that did it." So now everybody on wrestling Twitter, even the IWC, is literally going berserk on him, ballistic, losing their minds, saying the most harshest things. You had English fans calling him up in Wanka. Like like, listen, they were going insane. Peeps, not even an hour into the fans figuring out that he was probably the one that sabotaged Punk that morning. He changed his whole profile.
Wow. Yeah.
It's totally not obvious. Like, totally not obvious. Right?
Yeah.
Changes it completely. Takes out the AEW traveling coordinator, which I probably presume to believe that he's fired now.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls himself stand-in Young Buck still. But not only that, peeps. He also disliked all of the posts that came around CM Punk. But not only that, peeps. He then liked two posts. And that pissed me off even the most, peeps. Because I sat there and I said to myself, why the hell would you? Because now I don't even want to be associated with my team anymore. So, guys, you know that I'm a New York Jets fan. I'm not going to go ahead and, cap about that. But, peeps, would you actually believe that this man is a Jet fan? This is the one time I hate the New York Jets because of this sucker. Peeps, no, I'm not lying to you. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at Peeps.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? This is the one time I don't want to be associated with the New York Jets.
Wow. Of all the things. The things.
I could have appreciated you, man. If you were the one that kind of stood up for yourself and wasn't a suck up to EVPs who can't manage a target. And if you actually were concise on what you did, you were just fan, maybe you would have gotten a follow from me. But now I can't stand you. I hate you. I hate my squad. This is why I chose not to even come up with Jets gear this morning. You see, I usually be wearing my Jets cap. Do you see me wearing it today? No. Yeah. I'm pissed off. In the words of Stephen A. Smith, I feel bamboozled. I feel hoodwinked. I feel led astray. I feel run amok. Peeps, I'm pissed.
I understand.
But look, with all of that being said, with everything that I just went ahead and pinpointed, peeps, who do you blame? How do you feel about this? And where do we go from here?
Okay. This is going to be good. The theme of this and the overarching issue that is if you draw a Venn diagram, you get 3 circles that intersect. Whatever is in the middle is the commonality between everything. Mm-hmm. So you take what happened at Brawl Out last year, and you put that in one circle. You put Tony Khan in there, and then you put what's happened here at All In, which became Brawl In. And then you sprinkle a couple of other circles around. Maybe you talk about the AEW women's division kerfluffle. You talk about what's been going on with contracts. You talk about what's been going on with all of the other things that have happened, and sprinkle them around. As I said before, all of those circles intersect. And the one thing that connects to most of them is CM Punk. But what connects all of them is Tony Khan. Tony Khan, it starts, it stops, it ends, the sun shines, the moon comes up, all with Tony Khan. And if Tony Khan is going to run a professional wrestling promotion, and you're going to have close to 200 wrestlers on your roster between Ring of Honor, AEW, Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision, and you're going to try and run literally 2 wrestling promotions, 2 entities, separate yet together, different yet the same. And you're going to try to make sure that the wrestling community is going to buy into what they're looking at without all of the drama and all of the nonsense, and give them a compelling product. I want everybody that watches our show to think about this. Mm-hmm. I've been with my partner with this show now. We're about almost close to 2.5 years. We're going on about a little over 2 years, 2.5 years of doing this show.
Right. Yep.
This is probably the longest we have gone on this show about AEW and nothing else.
That's
I want you to
actually
think
true.
About that.
Holy crap! I just thought about that.
I want you to think about that. And the part of the story that we're talking about, we're not glorifying. This is the reason why we talked about the really good pay-per-view that they did. The showing that they showed from 81,000 fans that came out there, paid, not the balloon made-up numbers that WWE does with a lot of their early pay-per-views, and none of that stuff. It's not about hating either or, whatever's the case. They did, a $10 million gate. Mm-hmm. They had 75,000 tickets sold in that building before they announced a match. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about sophomoric nonsense put on by Charles Montgomery Punk and Jack Perry, who fashions himself as this next great heel star that is trying to put himself over in the eyes of the fans. And how is he doing that? By pissing off the guy that can probably get him the push that he needs. And that person has the ear of the owner, proprietor, vice president, main booker of the company, and the man that is paying you your salary. That's what we've got here. And all the ancillary stuff that's going on between the Punk side and the Jack Perry side, and then the constant over all of this is Tony Khan. And if Tony Khan had enough gumption to actually do what he's supposed to do, which is you can be a player coach, but you have to be able to rein this nonsense in. Because 4 years into this company, we have heard more sophomoric garbage go on in the back between whoever it is, whether it's this particular wrestler in the back, this guy wants another contract, this guy doesn't know what's happening, this guy wants creative control. We hear more about that than the stuff that's supposed to go on in the ring. And that's the thing that pisses us off. That pisses me off, that pisses my partner off, and more importantly, pisses you fans off. Because the whole idea of AEW was supposed to be counterculture, to what the WWE was doing. And for a good chunk of their existence, that's what they've been doing. WWE started farming off people and getting rid of wrestlers. They signed a lot of these guys, brought them in. And then they shined them up and they put them on TV and they became stars, for better or for worse. Here's the issue. With all that talent, you're not going to use everybody. So what do? You go out and get one of the biggest stars that the company has ever signed in CM Punk. And even with the baggage that he has on him, that he has admitted himself, he's never been that great of a person overall, but he has worked on it or tried to work on it. He can be very acerbic. He can have his moments where he can really be a prick. He's said that. But to also know that he is a money draw, and you're going to literally have him subjected to this stuff. Brawl Out last year, that was one thing. We all thought he was gone from the company. We all were taking bets as to how long it was going to be before he was out of the company.
Yeah.
He healed up after his injury. He came back. They crafted a second 2-hour brand specifically for CM Punk to keep him there. And what have we seen in that span? Collision has been great Saturday wrestling that we have not seen the likes of in years.
Yup.
And what have we talked about with all of this stuff? CM Punk being separated from the executive vice presidents of the company, from the Young Bucks, from Kenny Omega, because of what happened a year ago. Move that to the side. We get back to the Venn diagram. With all of the goofiness that's been going on, Collision has been really good. Dynamite has its ups and downs, but it's clearly been shown as a B show, mostly because of what has happened in the past. Here we are, All In London, 81,000 fans, huge show, 11 matches, pre-show, 0-hour title change, build into the main event. And we are here September the 2nd, not even a full week after the card is over, and we're talking about backstage politics and high school sophomore drama that does not belong in the wrestling business. And the reason why it works is because CM Punk has the ear of Tony Khan, and Tony Khan is buddy-buddy with a lot of guys. I'll ask you this question. We remember the incident that happened in the WWE with Brock Lesnar taking the WWE Championship, going back to Gorilla, and chucking the belt at Vince McMahon. Just literally throwing the belt like it was a discus at him.
Vince yelled at him and called him an a-hole, right?
Oh, he cursed him out, and then he walked off. Now, if this was not Brock Lesnar, and Vince McMahon did not think that even with that blow-up, that this guy wasn't a star, Brock Lesnar would have been future endeavor. What happened? He still got the top cards. He's still getting paid all the money, and he's still looked at as an important piece of that company.
Yep.
CM Punk does the same exact, not to the extent of, chucking a belt or whatever the case, but we're hearing now for the second time in a year, this kind of stuff happening in the locker room. The only person that is supposed to quell all of this is Tony Khan. Because if you don't go to Tony Khan and he doesn't do something drastic, like, you know what, we're all good, we're all cool, you're going to get suspended. Perry, you're going to be suspended and take them off. To the extent that this week in Chicago, the number one draw of the company, who is based on Chicago, the reason why you have the pay-per-view in Chicago in the first place, he may not even be on the show. Why? Because Tony Khan wanted to buddy up with wrestlers in the back and not discipline and put in place the things that are supposed to make sure that this company is not looked at as a joke. And when these kinds of things happen in the back, when you take away the fact that we have a $10 million gate and 81,000 fans. And we're not talking about that. We are talking literally about sophomore high school type stuff where somebody said something that was a mean girl spirited thing. Oh, he's going to destroy me. Oh, he said this thing, and then take it to the back and fight in front of the owner of the company. Something is wrong. And that is part of the reason why AEW, unless some things change here, there's going to be a lot of turnover with the wrestling in the back, because remember, the wrestlers have to see this stuff. And although we do have clicks in the back of who's going to take whose side, we go back to the same Venn diagram that I just told you about. And the Venn diagram where all of the circles intersect, the number one part of this whole thing that intersects every single circle is Tony Khan. And that's where it has to start, and that's what has to stop. Period.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that marks the end of the first half of Saturday afternoon's main event. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and get to our questions, and then we'll go ahead and have our last topic of today's show, which will be...
Have mercy.
which will be payback predictions.
Yes.
For tonight's show. We're not going to get into all out because that card is debunked. Trash. Should I even watch the show, peeps? I'm not even buying.
I think I might actually go to Dave and Buster's to see it, because
we're not spending $100 in the span of 1 week for AEW pay-per-views. No way. No.
I'll go to Dave and Buster's, get something to eat, and I'll watch the show there.
Exactly. Free of charge.
There you go.
Exactly right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Do not go anywhere. The second half of Saturday afternoon's main event is coming right up next. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the second half of Saturday afternoon's main event. Of course, I'm the phenomenal one, joined by my side is Peeps Nate, who hasn't had a technical difficulty yet. I guess it was Vince telling him that he had to go ahead and curse the hell out of Tony Khan just so his internet could work.
Yes,
Peeps,
yes.
God bless your soul. You did your thing, man. Good job.
I told you it was going to be Mortal Kombat. There's a reason for it. There you go.
Exactly right. There was a reason for it. But with that being said, let's go ahead and go straight into our questions. Of course, guys, you know that if you want to go ahead and send in a question, all you have to do is just DM us on Instagram at Saturday_main event, and it will be featured on the next episode of the show. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get the first one in from Master Sean 007. He says, "Greetings, gentlemen. I would like to know if AEW is a pro wrestling company or glorified indie show. From the excessive amount of botching going on to obvious cooperation going on in the ring, or referees that stand around and enforce nothing, no threat of an actual count out or DQ, synchronized movesets that not a single person would do in a fighter competition, and then the most egregious thing is the constant no selling and kicking out of devastating moves just to get a big pop from the audience. Are AEW diehard fans oblivious to what I just mentioned, and why won't they fix the issues? It's embarrassing." You know what, Master Sean 007, we have to meet you. We have to have you on the show. I know Peeps would love to have you on the show because this is like, you two just sound the same. It sounds like this is something that will come from the mouth of Peeps Nate. You take care of this question, man. You take care of the question.
Okay. I will get to this question and try to put it in one bubble. The AEW fan, first of all, I actually enjoy AEW fans because for the most part, they're knowledgeable, they're very passionate, and they definitely want an alternative to the WWE and the sports entertainment that they are crafting. And there is an audience for both. But herein lies, there are a bunch of points that were brought up that you've heard me rant on at various points to varying degrees of difficulty and intensity based on the egregious nature of what has happened. Get back to the first part of it. Is it an indie show, glorified indie show? Is it a wrestling promotion? It is a wrestling promotion backed by millions and millions of dollars of not only Tony Khan's money, but soon to be back behind Warner Brothers Discovery money. That's some huge, huge, deep pockets. If you're going to make the wrestling compelling, there has to be a modicum of realism, which goes into the problem with the referees and the problem that goes into the non-selling and the lack of psychology in ring and sometimes the lack of pacing. We do have a handful of talent that are, one, really good at those aspects of it, but yet at the same time, they may also be one of those kinds of people that are still learning. So that's understandable. You may not be versed in all of the aspects of it that make you a great pro wrestler, but you'll put it together. And if you have the right scenario, you have the right system in place, you can learn and then grow and become a star. Like guys like MJF, who already had it before they came to AEW, when he was in MLW and showed on the indies how good he was. He just needed that belief and that focus on him. And then now that he's in AEW, he is without question the best wrestler in the company. And for a lot of people, probably the best wrestler in the world, this side of Will Ospreay. But he knows psychology. He knows how to sell, and he also knows when to do moves, how to do moves, and the importance of when to do them at certain points of the match. So from that sense, he's got it. He's got it. He knows it. Jim Cornette loves MJF, and so do we here on the show.
Yes.
As far as the selling of moves, that ticks me off to no end. As we just talked about a little earlier with the whole Canadian Destroyer back and forth, one Canadian Destroyer, two Canadian Destroyer, 1-2 buckle my shoe kind of approach. Mm-hmm. There was a time when certain moves were protected across all promotions. A pile driver was, in a lot of promotions, banned because of the dangerous aspect of the pile driver. Now a pile driver is just a regular move. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard used to do a spike pile driver, and that would either be used to injure someone or end a match. When they were the Brain Busters in the WWF, that was their finishing move, was a spike pile driver, and they ended matches with it. Now people do spike pile drivers and kick out. They do spike pile driver, kick out. That has to stop. A DDT used to finish a match. That's it. Now it's just a setup move. If you're going to make the product believable, there has to be a certain set of moves that should not be used either until they were put in special situations, or it makes sense to do those moves. Now, obviously, the wrestlers are going to confer within each other what move set, what we're going to use in the match that makes the most sense based on the story that they're telling in the ring, the flow of the match, and timing, and the fans. Because a lot of wrestlers, they'll pull something out like, you know what, let's try that thing we were trying to do when we were practicing, et cetera, et cetera. The over-coordination now of moves, mostly in tag team matches and things of that nature, especially when you see like a lot of luchador matches, like you see Commander, you see El Hijo de Vikingo, who is a talent, but in some instances, you see that coordination, a lot of that happening, which kind of pulls you out of the belief. Botches, I don't really have that much of a problem with, because if you're portraying pro wrestling as a sport, botches happen, quote unquote. Things happen. You do have a slip. Somebody slips off the top rope. It's an accident. It happens.
Of course.
My thing that really grinds my gears, and I'm going to go Peter Griffin on this. You know what really grinds my gears?
Oh, Lord. Here it comes.
These referees drive me insane. What are they doing? You can't have... I'm seeing spots in matches where a referee is counting a 3 count when a guy's shoulder is up. I'm seeing the referee lose count of who's supposed to be the legal man in a tag match. I'm seeing referees not counting someone on the top rope when there's supposed to be a 5 count to get off the top rope. I'm seeing guys on the apron not holding the tag rope when they go to make a tag, and they go ahead and make the tag, and it's legal anyway. Those are the kinds of things that drive me absolutely insane when I look at wrestling, because then I look at it, and then I've complained to my partner about that in various text messages. Well, what are they doing? What is this ref? Is he blind? Does he not know the mindset of what's going on with certain rules? What is he doing? So from that extent, those kinds of things absolutely make no sense. And 4 years in, you would have thought that they would have corrected a lot of this stuff. And that goes part and parcel with who, the head of the person at the top of the $10,000 Venn diagram, and that is Tony Khan. And that has to be on his watch. And everybody else underneath him, they have to make sure that gets taken care of. Because if your presentation isn't believable, your product isn't believable. And if your referees aren't believable, then no one's going to believe what's in the ring makes any sense, nor does anyone care about it.
Not wrong at all. Not wrong at all. Hot Rod says this. Calm down, man.
I'm going to take another sip of my iced tea.
Yeah. If you don't said earlier, oh man, too bad Britt Baker. So, peeps, you see what they're trying to do? They're trying to go ahead and get back to the Britt Baker stuff with me, and I don't have no time for that. I've turned a new leaf, peeps. Haven't you seen that? I've spent almost a year not talking about Britt Baker like that, but somehow these guys want to.
Yes.
I digress.
Oh, wow. Look how long it took to get to I digress number 2. That was only number 2.
We were trying to hold it in. It in.
Yes.
Next question. Good job on that from Master Sean 007. Next one comes from Dr. Thugonomics. He says, Wembley was hard, but damn it felt good at the end. Day 1206. We're better than you, baby.
Yes.
So I guess
I'm really enjoying that tag team. I'm really enjoying the tag
team. Definitely. Everything from I was speaking about it earlier, but internet went out for you, and I was speaking on how MJF had the kangaroo kick. He saw his hands go like this for a quick second. I was just like, is he really about to do it? And the minute he did it, I was just like, he delivered the drop kick. I was like, oh my God, he did it. This dude MJF is him.
Yes.
God bless Maxwell Jacob Friedman. God bless him, man. But from there, we move to the next one. He comes from Long Island Isaiah. He says they went with the SummerSlam 92 finish. God love Tony Khan, the crackhead.
Wow.
Thank you.
I'm not going to go there. I said my piece on Tony Khan, and I'm not going to take it personal. I'm just going to leave it where I let it lay.
No one's trying to take a hit from Tony Stash, bro. It's okay. Don't worry. Good. Last one comes from Tombstone City Adam. He says wrestling is back in a boom. What do you guys currently think about both products? You want me to take care of this one?
You got this one.
All right. So let me say this. As I stated earlier, WWE sold 90,000 tickets for WrestleMania 40, what is taking place next year, April, in a span of 24 hours. All Elite Wrestling just put on another multi-million-dollar gate for All In, cross-continental at Wembley Stadium, which was the first wrestling event back at Wembley since 1992, SummerSlam, which the main event was the British Bulldog versus Bret Hart for the Intercontinental title. 31 years ago. But All Elite Wrestling just went ahead and hit the marker first on the new version of Wembley, because of course the old SummerSlam 92 took place at the old version of Wembley. So AEW just did something that we were expecting WWE to do. They just did that. WWE pulling out multi-million-dollar gates when WrestleMania isn't even here yet.
Exactly.
Okay? And you have fans going in, watching SmackDown, and the viewership on ratings is like, what, 2.8 million?
Yeah.
Close to 3 million on a Friday night.
Yes.
Guys, how do I feel about both products? Look, put it this way. Seth Rollins and MJF both said it last week on respective different shows. They said, wherever there is competition, both are going to thrive. We're just having the time of our lives doing what we do best. We're enjoying it. We're having fun. That's all that matters. We don't even care. MJF even went on to say, look, I go ahead and I sit there and I watch the LA Knight stuff. I watch the Seth Rollins stuff. I enjoy the Bloodline stuff. I'm watching the Judgment Day stuff with Finn and, like, you know, Damian and Rhea and Dom. I'm enjoying all of it. But truth be told, on my end, I know most definitely that they're sitting there and they're watching the Adam Cole MJF stuff. They're keeping up with the Acclaim stuff. The Blackpool Combat Club and Eddie Kingston saga, of course, we know that they're keeping up with that as well. There are things going on in both respective companies that we both are keeping an eye on, but it's not for the sake of trying to be competitive against each other. We're doing it because we both want to thrive, and in this sense, we are thriving because you know who's winning? The fans. I literally said this last week. We are the ones winning, guys. We're all in on this.
Yes.
I said it again. What's up with all in being the pun of the day?
I tell you one thing. They definitely got all in and all out as puns, so it definitely work.
Exactly right. But honestly, to keep it $150 with you, wrestling is the best that it's been since I would say 05. And 05 is being nice. Wrestling hasn't been the same since the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
And of course, wrestling hasn't had a boom since the Attitude Era. But I wouldn't call this too much of a boom. You know what I would call it instead, peeps? A renaissance.
Okay.
This is a renaissance. It's new, peeps. This isn't, like in the words of Vince McMahon when he gave out his Attitude Era promo before the show even started. The era of you can't see me and rest in peace are due to the term passe. Mm-hmm. We are in a much more innovative era where we are now due with much more storyline driven characters, less of on the gimmick side, more upon real life IRL people who actually have a heart and passion for pro wrestling and are showing it day in and day out on respective shows.
Yes.
That is what we're at now, and I love where we're at now. This is currently what I would say is the beginning of something good. Thank God we're a part of this era because we get to see wrestling at least kind of go back to what it was prior. Because now, peeps, if we're being for real, look at it like this. Rap. We had rock and wrestling. Rap and wrestling is the thing now. Mm-hmm. Ric Flair is starring in music videos. Shinsuke Nakamura literally has a song dedicated to him from a rapper named Lil Uzi Vert. West Side Gun, who is a prominent New York rapper, is going to AEW shows sitting front row as like he is like that Vladimir the Superfan from the 90s. Or the smiley face guy or the Brock Lesnar guy.
Or even, if you want to put it in today's perspective, Trini guy in WWE.
Exactly.
The Trini fan is walking around with his Trinidad and Tobago. Yes.
Or the Mets fan that wears the same Noah Syndergaard Mets jersey, even though the man's not even there no more.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? You have, even the rappers are literally even getting into going ahead and writing songs for the rest. Daniel Garcia. Who else? Swerve.
Yes.
Hook, who has a song from Action Bronson that is being used weekly.
Yes.
We're literally on a renaissance where pop culture is literally still being indebted into the WWE and AEW, both respectively. And they're both doing good off of that. Fans are tuning in. People are enjoying the product. People are going to shows, although it's not the same with All Elite, especially on the hard cam side. But I digress.
There you go.
But it just tells you that the show's just doing great from where it is. And I love it. I honestly do love it. It's great how it is. I love where it's going. And I can't wait to see where it goes continuously.
Yeah, it's not a boom, it's a burp. That's the way I look at it.
Burp. That works.
There you go.
But with that being said, let's go ahead and end questions here. Oh, man. Here comes Hot Rod. It's a win. Win, baby. Oh, my gosh. All in. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that marks the end of today's questions. Look, if you know how to send in a question, I'm not gonna go ahead and give it out because right now I'm disturbed. I don't know how else to put it. Damn it, Hot Rod, you're pushing retirement soon, bro. Why say something like that? God.
Yes.
Get it out my head. It burns, peeps. It burns. Somebody give me some bleach. Oh, but with that being said, let's go ahead and go quickly into this. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, WWE Payback hails from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I believe, peeps.
Yes, it is.
That cool little show. John Cena.
Only 6 matches.
Exactly, peeps. John Cena's the host of it. Things are seeming to go ahead and go well with this. I'm not gonna lie to you, peeps. Honestly, I'm with it. I'm with it. But yes. Peeps, look, it's not like we're gonna go ahead and go through all of the shows. We're only gonna go through the ones that somewhat matter. Okay.
Okay.
Because of course, I know All In really took almost like all of our time, and we're literally like 5 minutes till usual cutoff time. So look, let's go ahead and kind of like skim through this for a quick second. Okay.
Gotcha.
So. Honestly, we're gonna go down this list. Of course, 6 matches in, we'll be fine, peeps. We'll be fine. We got this for that. Okay. So first match: Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus. Mark me down, Becky Lynch, and the story.
Yes.
It's the same thing for you, non-expert.
Yes, it is. Big time Bex is winning this one.
Okay, then. See, easy is done. So, guys, you see, first match already done. Second one: KO and Sami Zayn versus the Judgment Day. We already know how this is going. KO, Sami Zayn for the win and the story. Good on that one. All right. So, look, I guess we're 2-2, right? Cool.
Correct.
Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley for the win.
Yes.
We're 3-3, ladies and gentlemen. Next match, 4th one of the night. Singles match for the WWE United States Championship. Guys, are we really going to have to do this? I see this going ahead and going in the sense of father versus son, unify both titles, both the North American and the United States Championship. So still, keep me up with Rey Mysterio going ahead and retrieving the title. If they're not going to go the route of unifying both of those titles, then I would say Rey Mysterio wins, Santos Escobar turns on him.
Yes, and we've been predicting this for a couple of weeks now because nobody believes that Santos is going to stay a face that much longer. That's what this is building to.
Exactly right. No shot. Next match, the match that we might actually sit there and want to talk about for a bit. LA Knight versus The Miz. Look, as much as I've seen the promo battles, everything like that, I'm so indebted into this match. I can't wait to see what's going to happen, but of course, you can already mark me down. LA Knight takes the win on this one.
Yes.
There's no shot you're going to give it to The Miz. No. We're trying to go ahead and give LA Knight the push here. It makes sense that you go ahead and let him take the W. Honestly, peeps, look, we love The Miz. We know what he's capable of doing. We know that there's a shot that he might take a W here through his cheating ways. But the goal here is not to make LA Knight a face. We're trying to still make him that neutral type of heel / face that kind of gets over with the fans, but still you know that he's a heel. So look, LA Knight takes a W here. Honestly, that's what I feel is going to happen. That's what I'm going to stick to.
All right.
So you got LA Knight?
I got LA Knight, and it's without question. This is a match that he literally needs to win. I think he needs this win. So it's going to go to LA Knight.
Definitely. Okay. Well, the last match, singles match, World Heavyweight title. Seth freaking Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Now look, peeps. If they keep doing it the way that they've been doing it, and keep talking about Seth's back, there's no way I'm going to sit there and say that Seth is winning, right? Give me Nakamura.
Aha. So you got Nakamura winning. I've got Rollins winning, and I think that this is going to play into what they've been trying to do with Rollins, is to try to make him human. Not to say that he isn't human, but you understand where I'm coming from in the fact that if they're going to do something with him, they have to make him look like he is beatable. And they've spent a lot of time getting Shinsuke over just after literally having him roll around and be a jobber to everyone else. They're building him up as a legitimate force. So I think if you're going to go that route, and if you're going to play on the back, et cetera, if they're going to do it, this would be the time to do it. This would be the way to do it. Are they going to pull the trigger and put the belt on him? No. I think that Seth is going to win this, and it's going to be one of those pull it out of the bag, do what he can, see what he can, and get it. You know, one of the John Cena against all odds kind of thing, because I think that's where they're headed with this.
Now, peeps, if they've been talking about the back so much, honestly, if Seth were to win this, I don't see him walking out with the title still. Damian Priest is cashing in his Money in the Bank. If that's the way that you want to go,
and there you go. That's a good one also, because he's not going to walk around with this thing all year either. I don't think he's going to cash it in between now and Survivor Series. He's got to cash that.
But the thing is, peeps, do you think it's a failed cash in if he cashes in tonight?
If the premise is to push Seth Rollins, if the premise is to get rid of Finn Balor from the Judgment Day at some point, then you kick him out the same day that Damian Priest wins the championship, if that's what you're going to do. If you cash it in to say some match happens, something happens, Finn is gone, they kick him out, they beat him up, they leave him laying. We don't have a leader. Now, we all know the true leader of this group is Rhea Ripley. Ripley has already stated on Raw, if you guys don't get on the same page, there's going to be some changes. And like E.F. Hutton, if Rhea speaks, everybody listens.
For me, the only thing that had me laughing out of that whole segment was when Rhea was like, the only people around here that's actually doing the work of the Judgment Day is me and Dum Dum. And literally, Damian Priest turns to Dominic, and Dominic looks so scared for his life. So
exactly.
Like, oh, shit.
You don't put me in this.
Please, don't do that.
Exactly.
Honestly, look, the way that I see it, Damian Priest has to be the one to, get that title. And if they're going to do it, the change is going to be taking Finn out of the group and implementing JD McDonough.
Exactly.
Honestly, that's the only way I see fit, deeming it possible. But then again, he did say you guys have to get rid of this whole thing to go ahead and get along. What if Finn Balor's the one to go ahead and cost Priest his chance at cashing in and he fails to cash in? There's so many ways this can go tonight.
Yes.
But you know what? Here's how I'm gonna go ahead and say this. You have Seth, I have Shinsuke, but here's what I'm gonna say. Does Damian Priest go ahead and get his cash in? Does he fail to cash in? Is Shinsuke Nakamura gonna become champion? Or is Seth Rollins gonna ride off into the sunset at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with the World Heavyweight title? We will find out later tonight on WWE Payback.
Thank you, Tony Schiavone. We're out of time. We got to go, fans. See you next week.
Oh, man. But that is the end of our predictions, ladies and gentlemen. And that marks the end of our show. We have one fan here who just went ahead and said something during the LA Knight Miz talk. He said, one time I was at Impact and I yelled, "Who wants to fight the Miz?" Eli Drake said, "Yeah." Look, Nicholas 8337, this is our first time seeing you on Saturday afternoon's main event. Welcome.
Yes.
We appreciate you, man. Another one of the new fans in the cut. Look, guys, always go ahead and feel free to comment through the comment section. When we look at these things, we're just gonna automatically put them on the show. We're just gonna side note them or something. Like, honestly, we appreciate you guys, but thank you.
Yes.
But with that being said, this is over for season 6, episode 8. We did our thing. We had our I digresses. We scattered on Tony Khan. Look,
and we even had technical difficulties. More like I had technical difficulties. So
I thank God nobody mentioned the Boost Mobile Wi-Fi hot rod. But with that being said, on this episode of Saturday Afternoon's Main Event, I, the Phenomenal One.
And I, the Peeps Nate, where we came.
We saw.
And in the words of the wise man Paul Heyman, we conquered.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we conquered. See you next week for episode 9. It is the Phenomenal One. It is the one and only Peeps Nate. We'll see you next week, ladies and gentlemen. Peace, love,